Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials. Good morning, it's 6:30 on Saturday the 31st of July. Just making my way down to the land, and as always, not quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land, looking very nice and green, because thankfully we've had some rain. Had a little bit on, I think it was Tuesday night, and then we had a little bit more yesterday. It is forecast for the next week to be cloud and showers. I guess we'll find out during the week, but it's good news for the garden and for the grass and the trees. They've had a bit of a rough time over the last few months weather-wise, so hopefully this will just give them a little bit of a boost as we go through the rest of the summer. Just take a quick look at this tree that I planted and see how it's standing up, and if the rabbits have been digging again, which it doesn't look like they have. It is looking nice and green. There's some fresh leaves on it. Bit of an issue with the other trees that were out in the pots behind the polytunnel during the week. We had a couple of days of quite strong winds, and as I came down to try and keep on top of the watering through the week, I kept finding them on the floor, so I've had to prop them up with these other buckets. And they're not looking too bad now either. There's more green foliage coming through. We'll take a little look at those later on as I go around what's in the garden. So for now, I'll get myself opened up, get the kettle on as usual, sort the chickens out, and we'll make it up as we go along. Well, first things first, sorting the chickens out. They're quite happy now, pecking away at the corn that was been scattered around. Let's take a little look. I wasn't down on Friday night, I was down on Thursday night, so I'm expecting a few eggs this morning. I have noticed that they've started cutting back. Nothing in that one. There we go, we've got one in there. They're this week they've not been doing 6 eggs every day. A couple in there, and a couple, it's dark, a couple in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5. One of the chickens has obviously been lazy. A lot of mess in here. That's going to need sorting out today. Food and water's okay actually. They're quite content in there, pecking away now. Oh, bit of a scrap going on. Right, let me get myself back in the cabin. Look at that. That's the new tank. It's 2/3 full. That's good news. Yeah, let's get the kettle on and we'll maybe have a little bit of a chat. Just doing a little short clip by way of introduction to the cabin chat today. We've got the chickens sat in the coop and the pen, in their little structure. We've got the garden room in the cabin, in its little structure. And we've got the polytunnel and the garden area. So the polytunnel is its little structure. Just take a second to listen as we go across the field. Don't know if you can hear it on the video or not. You might hear the odd tweet of the birds as we walk across, but the one thing you will hear is the road. And regular viewers to the channel will know that despite being a rural road, there is quite a bit of traffic on this road constantly through the day. The only break really is early hours of Sunday morning. The wooded area is an old railway embankment with a bridleway behind it. And apart from this noise of the traffic on the road, which you can hear, as all of the cars and the local farmers pass by, you can perhaps hear the cockerel in the background as well. For the last few years while I've been down here, I've been doing my YouTube videos, I'm sure you will have heard the road noise. And although I try to cut it out, the occasional noise of people walking on the bridleway. I've commented a couple of times about people shouting or playing loud music as they go. There is actually in a little industrial area about 500-600 metres beyond the bridleway, and there's a regular amount of noise comes off there, but it doesn't detract for me personally as I go about my business here. Cockerel crowing, perfectly natural sound, or should be in the countryside, but apparently for some it's not, and we'll get to that in a second. Well, good morning, it's the weekend. It's been a bit of an odd week, and in some ways it's been a very annoying and frustrating week, but we'll come to that in a second. Weather-wise, we've had lots of sun this week, and then finally, I think it was Tuesday night time, we got a little bit of rain, which was a real blessing because you'll know from the last few weeks it's been a real struggle trying to keep on top of the watering for the polytunnel and indeed all the raised beds that are planted outside. There just hasn't been any rain for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it's been a desperate struggle trying to keep on top of the watering. But it seems that the weather has broken. We had some more rain last night, so everything that's outside has had a good watering, and the little irrigation system has managed to keep on top, along with my visits to water. It's managed to keep on top of the carrots, the cucumbers, the tomatoes inside the polytunnel. So that's real good news. It has been a lot of a worry for me, but it seems, touch wood, that we should now be okay. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you are staying safe and well, and looking forward to enjoying your time off from work over the weekend. So I do hope you have a really enjoyable weekend. There's been lots of stuff going on personally for me over the last few weeks at work, and some other issues, personal issues. But the biggest thing really has been somebody that is around this area, or I'm assuming they are from what they say, someone from around this area has made a complaint to the planning office of the local council about me and my activities on this piece of land. Now, it might be a bit strange for people outside the UK, particularly our American cousins, as I go through this, but laws on usage of land in the UK are extremely tight, and permission is required for an awful lot of things that outside of the UK you wouldn't expect. But I'm aware of these, and I've commented on these in lots of videos that I've put out over the course of the last 2 to 3 years as I went through the journey of buying the land and clearing it out and making it to what it is today, a little small holding for my own personal use and my own personal pleasure in trying to be self-sufficient in terms of food production and gaining experience of being able to live off of the mains utility grid. So experimenting with things like harvesting water from the rain, having power from 12-volt systems, which I use for lighting, water pumps for irrigation, so on and so forth. Regular viewers will know, as I've been through the journey and I've put out these videos on all of these different subjects. However, let me just have a quick drink of this coffee. I'm trying desperately not to get too stressed out and emotional about this, but as I say, somebody has made a complaint and I've been in touch with the planning office at the local council to have discussions about what it is that I do here on the land. Because from the wording of the complaint, it would seem that there is something nefarious, illegal, antisocial, a whole range of different things going on here on this piece of land. So I'll go through what has been put forward to the council as a complaint. And this person says that they've been walking along the bridleway that runs at the back of my piece of land here for several years, and over the last 2 years they've noticed, quote, a large amount of random buildings constructed on this piece of land. They go on to say that what was previously grazing pasture, now when I get home I'll dig out some footage of when I bought the land, and regular viewers will have seen these clips years ago now of the time, effort and money that was invested in clearing what was certainly not grazing pasture land to get it into grazing pasture land that it is now. Well, they say that it was grazing pasture, but now it looks like, quote, a construction site with buildings everywhere. Buildings everywhere. They go on to say, I don't know if travellers are living there. Travellers is a term that's used to describe what other countries would call gypsies. People who don't live in normal housing, they live in a variety of different caravans. They don't actually travel generally. They put their caravans in large quantities in an area, car parks, fields, schoolyards, supermarket car parks. They set up little communities of numerous caravans and live there, sometimes permanently, sometimes for a short period before moving and setting up camp somewhere else. So they say, I don't know if travellers are living there, but I have heard squealing or crying coming from one of the buildings. I don't know what they're trying to suggest there, and I'm trying very hard not to get the impression that it is a malicious accusation designed to get the council concerned that there are indeed numerous caravans scattered around the field in which people are living and in which something nefarious is going on to create this crying or squealing. Anyway, continuing on, they go on to say that they've been walking on the bridleway for years, and it's such a quiet, peaceful place, and it would be a loss to the whole community. Bear in mind, I am part of that community. This is my land. I own it outright. It would be a loss to the community if this peace was lost. So that's what they wrote when they wrote to the planning office at the local council. And there's a lot of accusation in there which is absolutely factually incorrect. Now, I don't know. I'm trying to give this person the benefit of the doubt. But if they're walking on the bridleway, and especially at this time of year, because between March, April, when the leaves start forming on the trees, all the way through to October, November, when the leaves drop off the trees, if you walk on that bridleway, you actually cannot see this field or the neighbouring fields, which also have some structures on them. There's a variety of stables and small cabin, shed structures, call them what you will. But walking the bridleway, you can't actually see the field for the trees. You can't see the wood for the trees. So I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt that in what they can visibly see, it might appear that there are several, as you walk all the way down, I don't know where it is, 3 miles, 2-3 miles of bridleway on this section of the bridleway. Maybe it does look like as you walk down, oh, there's a stable, oh, there's another stable, there's a shed, oh look, there's another shed or cabin, oh look, there's a polytunnel, as they walk down that stretch of bridleway. And maybe they think it's all one field, which it isn't. It's actually, I think, 4 different fields under different ownership. I don't know, but the way that the complaint was worded, as I read it, does suggest an element of maliciousness in there. I hope that's not the case, and I hope that somebody is genuinely mistaken as to what is happening on not just my field, but the other fields as well. But the complaint was made to me, or against me. I've not managed to talk to my neighbour to ask if he's had a complaint raised against him or not. If you're watching, just drop me a text and let me know if that's the case or not, just in case I don't get to see you today. And I'm trying desperately hard not to take it personally, but it is personal. The complaint has been made against me. So I don't know. I've spoken to the local council, invited them to come down and take a look at what is actually on my field, so that they can see it does not resemble in any way, shape or form a construction site, that there are not numerous buildings randomly scattered around the land, that there are not travellers occupying or living on the land, or nor indeed is anybody else occupying or living on the land, and that apart from the odd chicken noise there isn't any now. Apart from the odd chicken noise, there certainly isn't any crying or squealing. There is road noise. And I'm 350 metres away, inside a cabin from that road. So, apologies if this sounds like a bit of a rant. It's not intended to be a bit of a rant. But it is extremely disappointing, annoying and frustrating. And I hope, oh my God, the chicken's squealing. I hope that the person that's made the complaint is watching this, and I hope that on reflection of seeing the video, that perhaps they will reconsider their opinion of what's going on the land, and that I'm not disturbing the peace for any random member of the public who might be walking down a bridleway. And I think I'll just kind of leave it there, because the more I think about it, the more upset and frustrated I get. So there we go. If I seem a little bit off over the next few videos, that's probably why, because it is preying on my mind. Because who knows, if enough people moan and groan in this country, generally those that are just trying to innocently go about their own business do normally end up, I'm trying to choose my words carefully but I can't, people like me just minding my own business, doing my own thing, not hurting or harming anybody, generally get shit on in this country, which is very disappointing. Anyway, let me get off before I get too upset about this, and I'll carry on with the rest of my day on my little piece of green, well cared for land with my little well cared for chickens, and not annoying anybody or doing anybody any harm. Wherever you are, wherever you're doing, please do stay safe, enjoy your weekend. I hope your weekend is much happier than mine is, and I'll catch up with you in the rest of the video. Well, before we take a run round the planting in the polytunnel and garden, as usual at the weekend, bit of greenery for the chickens. They really do enjoy the greenery. They don't quite know where to start. And Cockerel keeps leading them around from one piece to another piece, saying, "Follow me, I've found the best bit." Which he's doing now for a tiny, tiny speck of green. And they follow him around. Crazy. Anyway, let's have a little look around the planting. I suspect we're going to get some more rain shortly. You can kind of feel it in the wind. Not much going on in the garden room. We've got the remnants of the strawberries, which I'm trying to get all those little runners planted out to grow more plants. I've moved the sweet potato in here, which is putting on a lot of growth. Something's been eating. I suspect rabbits. So I brought these in out of the way, and hopefully if we've got this bit of cold wet weather, if they're indoors, it'll just encourage them to grow. But they are growing. Quite pleased with the amount of growth they're putting on. As I've said numerous times, no idea what's going to happen with those. If I do get any tubers, I'll be stunned, because it is completely the wrong time of the year. But talking about tubers, potatoes, all coming along nicely. They're starting to turn yellow and fall over. It won't be long before they're ready for harvest. Same with these along the side of the polytunnel. I've had 2 containers of these now, produced really nice potatoes. beautiful clean, no disease, no slug damage, nothing, which is surprising given that in various places around the plants there are slugs and snails. So it is a bit of a surprise that I haven't had more damage. There's a potato showing there, look, which is a bit of a shame. Oh, and another one there. So clearly we have got potatoes, and we've also got down there numerous berries. Really good this year with berries. Look at this, I've got a snail here, I've got a slug here. Oh dear. These trees that I've put out are finally getting the benefit of some rain. They were suffering, look, in the polytunnel, sorry, in the garden room. But hopefully they'll be fine now out here, and they'll go on to put on some more growth. If the wind stops blowing them down, of course, which it has this week. I've put them in the most sheltered place I can find, but let me just sort that branch out. That's better. But yeah, they've still fallen over a couple of times. Swedes, I should be doing something with these really. You'll remember that the birds have been in and scattered all the seeds to one corner, so they could do with a bit of transplanting, but I don't know. As you can see, lots of caterpillar damage. Pests this year have been just amazing in their volume. Loads and loads and loads of different kinds of pests. Corn, no sign of any corn heads developing yet. Plenty of growth in there. Onions, garlic. That garlic's ready for taking out now, I think. I might do that today or tomorrow. We'll see. Apart from that, not much going on outside. The cauliflower and broccoli just been decimated this year. Combination of birds, rabbits, caterpillars, slugs, you name it. Bit scruffy out here. What I've done is I've pulled out those tree saplings that I've been cultivating. These are all elderberries, and they've done really well. To say that they were literally just twigs when I popped them in. I think it was the start of this year, or was it the end of last year? I lose track. End of last year, I think. And that's a chestnut tree from a chestnut. I've got a bigger pot out for that. I'm going to transplant it into a bigger pot in a minute. Tomatoes, really doing well. A lot better than last year. Loads and loads of tomatoes coming on all of these plants now. Typical. We've now gone into rain and cloud. But some of them are starting to change colour, and some of them are getting really big. These are quite big tomatoes on here. Lots and lots and lots of them, all at various stages of development, all the way down the row. That's gone crazy, that one. That little vine has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tomatoes on one little vine. Cucumbers, hard to see in there, but there you go, look. You'll remember I've already taken some of these, but they are big, bigger than my hand. And they are coming everywhere. So pleased with those. Nothing happening on this fig tree. Not a sign of a fig anywhere. We had one last year and it looks like I'm going to be disappointed this year. But it's a substantial plant now. So hopefully I'll get some cuttings off this and multiply the numbers that I've got, as I've done with these blueberry bushes. Carrots all doing very well. Succession plantings coming along well. I'm going to have carrots pretty much all the way through to Christmas, I think. I'll leave this first bucket because the one I pulled last week wasn't great. There's a few more in here, but they're still fairly small, so I'll leave those for another week, I think, before I start. The good news is that as we plant it out more and more, the volume of carrots in the buckets has increased. So as we work through these, we should in theory get lots more than we have from the first couple of buckets. So that's it. I'm going to get these trees planted into bigger pots. I'm tempted to leave those outside now that they're properly developed, and then they can get the benefit of the rain rather than me having to panic all the time and try and water them. So that should keep me out of mischief for a short while, and then I'm not quite sure after that. I guess you'll find out as we go through the video whether or not I've got other things to do here or whether I just end up going home. Just been doing a little bit of garden maintenance. I've moved these trees outside to join the other trees, and hopefully the weather will give them plenty of water. That chestnut's doing really well. Well, as are these elderberries for that matter. I can't complain about any of the cuttings that I've taken. They've all come along. It's taken a while, but they've got there. I've thinned out those Swedes. We'll see how they get on, if they can survive the birds or not. I've similarly popped a few into that raised bed from the ones that I've thinned out. Given the pest problems we've had this year, I'm not holding out too much hope, but you never know. The onion and garlic, it does seem to be coming along quite well. They might look as if they're dead, but they're not. I've just pulled a couple out here, and you can see that I've got some quite decent sized bulbs there. So they can dry out. I'll just trim them a little bit. I'll leave the rest in the ground for now. They're not hurting by sitting there. If anything, they'll be putting on a bit more growth in the bottom. So we'll see. Need to do a little bit of a tidy up. A bit more of a tidy up in the polytunnel, and it'll soon be time to go. I'm just having to tidy up in the chicken coop. It's put a load of fresh bedding down on the floor. I'm just going to pop some more straw in the nest boxes, but they've given me 3 more eggs so far this morning, so that's good. I'll get this straw put out, and then they can come back in, because one of the grey ones has been trying to get into the nest box while I've been here, and I don't want to put her off from laying in there. Well, that's it for today, I'm afraid. Short and not quite so sweet as usual. But hopefully you'll understand, given what I've had to go through this week, if I'm not in the greatest of moods today. Everything's all locked up and looking very nice. Pleased I got that grass cut last weekend, because I don't think I'm going to be doing any for a while yet. Very nice to see as well, these hazelnut trees making a comeback. Hopefully with this bit extra rain that we've had, they'll come on leaps and bounds through the rest of this year and recover. Too wet to mess about with the bees. They'll not appreciate me taking the lid off the hive today, so we'll see what happens tomorrow, I guess. Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. Don't really know quite what to say today, so feel free to comment as you will. The garden's looking not too bad. Tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots, potatoes, all doing very well. How's your garden going? Let me know in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.